And this will be the, you all set? July 14th meeting of the Capital Improvement Committee. First thing I'd like to do is introduce our newest member, Tom McGurty, over here. Tom and his wife live on West Shore.
Tom, could you spell your name, last name?
M-C-G-U-R-T-Y.
Thank you, sir.
You bet.
And Tom, you want to just take a minute and just give us a little bit of your background?
Okay. I've been a property owner in Acton for close to 20 years now. Retired in January of 2020 and moved here permanently and became a Maine resident at that time. Prior to that, I lived in New Hampshire, sort of grew up in Rochester, but for the last 35 years, I've been in the Wyndham area down next to Salem. I worked at Tufts University for 35 years. I was the chief financial officer for the last 25.
Pull your chair up.
And prior to that, I was at the University System of New Hampshire and spent a number of years here, which is where I went to college. So it's pretty much a background of me. My wife, Kathleen, and 2 children and 4 grandchildren, and my son owns a place on the island, on Square Pond. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And this is Wayne, our keeper of all things on paper,
Hello, Wayne. I'm Tom McGurty.
and Tom McGurty, our newest member.
Okay.
The owls, and for clarity, I am an owl. And if you don't know what an owl is, we are older, wiser, liberated seniors. And we do meals for senior citizens once a month.
Nice.
We find it that we are unable to use the kitchen here anymore. Before COVID, we were bringing in our own flatware, our own dishes, cooking at home. But the only thing we were doing was boiling water here to put in a plastic bucket and put the dirty dishes and silverware in my car. And I would take them home and do dishes and silverware for 40 people. Because we usually get between 30 to 40 people. If you want to average it, say 35. But, and it would be a full meal that we did for them. Because of issues, we don't feel it's safe dealing with the elderly with some of the things that need to happen. So they have asked me to bring that up. And it should be under the town hall repairs anyway, as it was, because it is part of the town hall. So 3 of us just went and looked at it, and the biggest issue is the well and the drains. There's so much salt coming into the water. It's not really drinkable. Since we usually have a senior population, a really senior population, we have about 6 members now who are between 86 and 95 this year. So we tend to, be careful. So that's been added to our look at and see. So if you all, the other thing that was brought to my attention is, and it's a lot of talk at the Board of Selectmen meeting, is the parking lot redesign and the demo of the old fire station. And one of the things that was brought to my attention, and I kind of got my hand slapped because you should know better. What did I do? I said, well, it would be wonderful. They can do this, 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 and this. I said, no, they can't. You can only, on a commercial lot, which this is a commercial lot, you can only have 30% impervious soil, surface, including the roof. So you look at the size of the roof, you look at the plot of land, you look at where the septics are, which you can't use, take that out of the equation. You don't have a whole lot of, wiggle room in that. So the suggestion came to me from a citizen that perhaps as capital improvement, we should see about getting not just quotes in or bids. We're not in the bid business per se, although it's probably something we could consider doing. But we should get somebody in here and say, okay, what do you think? Here's a plot, here's a plan, which we have. I know there's some downstairs of the land. What would be the best way of doing this, including taking down or not taking down the building? And, just so that really gives us an idea of what we're looking for money-wise. Because unless we can come up with the greatest plan in the world for a parking place, but once it's done, it would be very embarrassing to have our own code officer saying,
Yeah, can't do it.
can't do it, and it would be a lot of waste of time.
So what you're saying is, we could not knock that building down or have it taken down and just make it all parking lot over there?
More than likely, that would be a doable thing, because there's no septic underneath it.
But there's a septic behind the firehouse. It's
When
all
you say
grown-
behind, you
You
mean,
walk back, unfortunately, Mr. Winchell put that in there. Unfortunately, it all grew up to the pines. There's little pines growing. There were little pines, but they grew up. So it was never really used that much. It was never really that important till
okay, when you say behind the old fire
if you
station.
go behind it. If you go up to this building, you're going right in the
No,
middle.
I mean, do you mean from the north end of the building?
Yeah, if you
Heading
go,
north?
we head north
Okay.
toward the tennis court. I'm guessing maybe
Not
100,
towards
100
tennis courts.
Toward
Yeah,
the
towards the
tennis
tennis
court.
But what I would call the front of the building, 109 front of the building.
Yeah.
Here. That's where I'm saying, there's a parking lot there now. If that building came down, and you could tar over that, and you could
Yeah,
probably
but
get
see, you're
parking
also dealing
places
with a
there.
grade change. They appropriated $75,000 not knowing what they're gonna do in this parking
think
lot
the
here.
grade
So it
changes-
didn't really make much sense to, if you don't know what you're gonna do here, what are you gonna do with the old firehouse, which is another change. If it was all the same level, you could say, well, you could, cheat on it for 1-2 years and then take the building down. So the whole thing should be figured out where you're gonna be. You take the building down, you got a different grade change. Whether you build that up and then taper it down, build a retaining wall toward the 109, maybe put some gardens or something there, make that parking, and make that area open so that if you ever expand this physical building and you head toward 109 in that capacity, how far, the thing is, I never got up down there because they had that thing downstairs, but you go downstairs to see how far back does this line go? How far back does this town own to the tennis court?
Yeah, but
Right.
that's,
And so like, how much room have we got for potential things so that when we do the parking lot, we know, okay, we're gonna take some of this
those are
parking
all
lot, put a building
questions,
on it.
those are all questions that are not really our purview,
It
except
should
that
be.
we need
It should be
to-
our purview, mainly because this is what happens. People, the tunnel vision, they get this one idea and they follow the idea, but they don't think that idea, where it blossoms out into all these other things 10 years
That's
later.
where we need to speak to an expert in that field and get expert advice, because we can all have wonderful ideas, but we're not experts either.
Okay, but I think first you have to
Okay.
define what your objectives are. At some point, you're gonna have to expand this building, tear it down, or go build a whole new one somewhere else, like they usually do. Brand new with, with the whole 9 yards. several $1 million. Now, what are you going to do? So,
Well, we know we're not going to do that in the next 3 to 5 years, so
That's not going to happen in the next 10 years.
well, all
be
right,
that as
all
it
right,
may,
so-
we've got to focus on what we can do now.
I know, but by figuring out what we can do and how much space we have. okay?
Right, that's what we have to
You know.
focus on. So,
But I don't think you should be hindered by it. I think you should pursue it and get the information, so then, okay, if
Well,
and when it
that's-
happens, at least you thought about it.
we've taken a long way to come around to my point. We need to be able to do that, Kim. And you are a selectman. You are our liaison. We need to be able to go and say, all right, this is what we have, excuse me, this is what we have, and this is what is going to, this is what's going to happen. This is what you can do, this is what you can't do. And we get, we're not asking for concrete, you tell me this, and this is what's going to happen.
I would think that
We-
would be the job of the capital improvement committee,
Exactly.
is to gather all this
All right,
information.
exactly.
Get ready to present to, okay,
Exactly.
here we go, we did this legwork for you.
Right,
If you're
and
thinking
well,
about
by
doing
the
A, B,
same,
and
by the
C,
same token, these windows, how many years ago was $25,000 spent on windows? And now we're getting new things on windows. We should be able to go out and say, look, we've got this many windows, this is the size of them. We're not looking for a bid at this moment, but we need a ballpark to work with. And we're not going to wait for people to get back to us. We need to do it.
Yeah.
And we want to be able to do it without being told we can't do it.
You're going to replace the windows in
That side.
that
not
side.
this
This is all done, right?
Yes, this is
Okay.
done. This is just in the.
How come that
office.
wasn't done over there? They just,
I wasn't here for that one. I don't know.
well, see, these are the things that happen.
Yeah.
Well, why
Well,
Maybe it
wasn't,
was money, maybe, they only got so much for this room. At the time, maybe they only asked.
I know.
don't know. But I understand what you're saying.
yeah, but we need to be able to move ahead and do things like that.
Well, we need to know, number one, we need to know how many windows are we talking about replacing.
Right,
Okay.
but
An
there's no
actual
reason-
count.
We can go out and count.
No, what I'm saying is, we're not the ones that are going to have this done, okay? The selectmen are putting this out, all right? So, I'm curious, how many windows are we going to replace?
It's 11 of the big ones, and then there's two small ones in the bathrooms are the ones that.
And there's one up over us that's
Oh,
rotted out.
All right, that one I didn't know about.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? What is the, new here, so what is the role of this committee in sort of evaluating a project like this? This committee versus the selectmen and/or others that might have responsibility?
Well, this is a brand-new committee.
It is a brand-new committee.
Brand new.
I
So
see.
we're trying to figure that out, I guess, as we go along. To gather information on projects and things, whether it be a 3, a 5, or a 10-year plan. But that's, where we should be at is, okay, in 3 years, this is what we're looking at, we need to do. 10 years, we would like to do this.
I
And then
see.
try to get, the information together for the selectmen in the town.
Right.
To say, this is approximately what it's gonna cost before budget season. So that
I see.
as selectmen, we say, okay, now's a good time, or whatever the budget is that year, and
We should be able to present to them our findings. And like I say, it's not the bid, it's not the whatever, but if we replace 25 windows, and each window is going to cost $2,500. So we have a span of this X amount to X amount. This is what it could cost. And that's with installation or without installation. So because we can wait a full year to get, how long have we waited just to get bids
Right.
to paint the backside of the building?
And so the scope of what we're looking at is town assets, not school department assets.
No.
These are just town assets.
Town assets.
This complex, the transfer station, the fire
department,
station,
yeah.
are there others?
The rec
town
department.
shed, right? Would that
Yeah,
be
the
on
town shed,
Okay,
Rec department.
the rec field and that,
What else?
on the fields, okay.
yeah.
Mary Grant's not, they take care of themselves.
Mary Grant takes care of themselves, but,
Would it be something that we,
well, Mary Grant, it's like the
Just
road
thinking about
committee. And that's something else that was brought to me by the chairman of the road committee. They would like, and it's not, again, it's not a capital expenditure, but they would like to have maybe $5,000 for education.
Yep.
And that has never been in the budget, so I got the call to see if we could make that a recommendation.
I think that any committee should have some money for education myself.
Right.
Whether it's planning board or zoning board or road committee or, because when you come in as a new person and you've never done anything like this before, it's nice to take classes.
Right, yep, they have to.
Have we ever had any kind of structural assessment done in these buildings to understand what their conditions, before we start renovating, to
Oh. mean like
understand?
this?
that- Whatever. If we're planning to do work in buildings, do we have a good sense of structurally what the conditions, are, the roof, the foundation, electrical, plumbing, that kind of thing? Because those are important things, I think, to understand before you undertake a renovation.
Definitely.
Roland, you've been on warrant finance long enough. Have you seen anything like that come across?
No.
And Joe?
The last time that any work was done on this building, as far as I know, was the external siding, and they did around, but they did not do the back.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
didn't Bill Noon put the drain in the end? He did.
But that's, no, we're talking about somebody
Bill
comes
Noon,
in.
Did the
Sure,
last
absolutely.
structural work. didn't he?
And, well, to be honest with you, I really don't know. Supposedly, there was some work done
Looking in sagging seam.
underneath
I can
Yeah,
see
the
it.
building.
Yeah, it just
Okay.
raises
Plus
questions, the floor, I don't know.
the bracing,
pretty good,
on the roof, but I don't know when that was done. I
I
couldn't
think it
begin
was
to
when
tell you.
Nancy was around.
Probably.
But what we're asking is not that kind of thing. You are not aware of, or are you aware of, having a building engineer
No,
come in?
Structural engineer.
no, you could,
And do an inspection.
you could talk to Tom Gore, who's an engineer. He's not a building engineer, but he's an engineer.
You could talk to Tom Chase too, who was a builder.
Tommy Chase,
Built the addition onto this
Oh,
during the,
They're builders.
they built it, and it was designed by the architects in Limerick there, what was the name? Stevens, Morton Stevens.
Okay.
They did the addition design. It was a
Okay.
simple fix that gave us, I think we just had this one room, didn't we have this one room?
what was it?
And the library was a separate building,
Right.
and
But again, they're a place to start and ask, but they're not structural engineers perhaps?
yeah, I know,
Would
I
be-
know, but to give you an insight as to what direction you're gonna come, they
Right.
give you an insight. The more people you talk to, the more you're gonna learn about the situation. And
Right.
you just talk to one person, you're just taking their perspective.
Yeah, no, that's not,
Definitely.
So especially something like this here, you got 100 different things, and they're all saying something different. You could come up with 101 solution to something with a full knowledge of what the other people are saying.
Yeah, but that's where I would say you get one certified inspector.
I think that's the whole thing, is it was just never, it's like we have a part-time government, our
Well, that's what I'm just saying, it's
our
very hard
government's part-
because your boards change and new people come in and, I mean, I agree with,
Oh, yeah.
what you're saying. It would be a good idea, I wrote it down, so that should be on.
wrote down what?
Just the fact, like, okay, maybe we should have, when we present to the selectmen, the fact that maybe we should have a structural engineer come in and,
See,
same thing.
I think that's the starting point.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying, that would be
Yeah.
the starting point.
That-
Yeah,
Yeah,
And same thing with the,
but that's not going to be the starting point.
I'm sorry?
That's not going to be the starting point.
Oh, okay.
I guarantee it's not going to be the starting point.
But that
We
doesn't
have-
mean
we
that
have-
can be our report.
I understand that. We have X number of dollars that have been allocated for certain work. $50,000 for the external repair of this building,
Right.
which,
The siding in the back.
the siding, the back, and the windows, okay?
But they've got no bid and they've got nobody to bid on it and nobody to do it. So you know, you've reached a point, you know, it's like the parking lot. We're going to $75,000 to do what?
Nothing right now. I mean,
You're
that's
just throwing
to
the
put
figures
money.
out.
Well, the only thing that's going to happen with that is, you know, if the money doesn't get spent, you know, if nobody comes up with a plan as to what to do with that building over there, which was the old fire station, and the parking lot over there, and redo the parking lot here, if nobody comes up with a plan for that, was that money put into a capital reserve account, or was it just,
No, I think it was actually District 1.
No, it was, no,
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 it
not
went
District
into
1.
was it a reserve? I don't know.
if it's not a capital, if it's not a reserve account, then that money's going to end up falling back into undesignated fund.
Right.
Which article was it? Do we remember?
No, not right off the top of my head.
Come on, Ron.
I think it was
I'm
20,
sorry.
look at
She's just rolling.
26.
You haven't keep track of these figures?
Because right there, with everything you've just said,
No, that's the reevaluation.
we have to look at the foundation first. This foundation
All right.
is in bad shape. And what do you build
Capital
on?
Improvement Reserve Fund, for the town hall, parking lot reconstruction.
It was in what?
Parking lot is in,
The parking lot is in the capital improvement reserve fund.
Okay, so that money may not end up rolling back.
I didn't
what
think,
about the maintenance
because,
to the town hall?
I didn't think that $75,000 was going to be enough to do what we needed to, but at least we've got a
But if you
start.
don't know what you're doing, how do you know what it
Well,
is?
now
Yeah.
we're here,
You
let's try to
just
figure
throw
it
out
out.
numbers, you know? You got 50, I think we can do less than $50,000 on the siding on the back there, but I don't know what needs to be done, whether you have rotten wood or, I don't
Well,
know, you know?
all you gotta do is walk out back, Joe.
The exterior-
All you gotta do is walk out back.
Yeah, what do you-
So the 50,000
Have you ever seen Sleeper's real estate down in Sanford?
Yeah.
Wait one. You seen his real estate? How dilapidated? Yeah.
Is it rotted?
There could very well be some
Okay,
rot
so
back
you
there.
can't really tell.
Guys,
You can't
I'm
really
gonna call you
tell.
back.
Yes.
The $50,000 for the painting in the back of the building.
Siding
It's not just,
No, it's not
It's the
painting, you're not gonna
siding,
paint rotten wood.
Siding
and windows.
and windows,
It's for repair of this building is what it's
okay,
Repair.
for.
is undesignated, it will go to undesignated if it's not used.
Could I suggest something? I think, you know, what I'm hearing is that we shouldn't be spending money until we truly understand what the scope of the need is within these buildings.
Right.
And even though they've been appropriated, to me, that's no reason to spend the money unless we truly understand what we want to do. And I think to do that properly, you really need to engage somebody that can come in, do an assessment of the buildings. Give us a sense of whether or not, I hate to say it, are they worth investing in or not? It's just a question. They'll answer that for you, but I think as stewards, you ought to understand, I think it's important to understand what it will take to bring these up to a level that you want to bring them up to, and what are the alternatives. And it may be worth spending some money to do that, and maybe we have to wait for the next warrant process to get the money, but rather than spending money now without fully understanding what we're going to get out of it, maybe we ought to try to figure out what does it cost to do a proper assessment and see if that's something that would be of interest to us.
that probably is an excellent idea, and I would definitely support that, okay? As far as this building here goes, right here, you're never gonna get rid of this
Yeah,
building.
it may be.
No, what I'm saying is.
Historical
this-
and,
This building has been here, this was the original town hall.
yeah, okay.
Okay? Forget that stuff over there.
Yeah, but this,
was the original town hall.
Yeah.
When I first started coming to town hall meetings in 1966, we sat on pews.
yeah.
You
So-
can get an outhouse here, right? The outhouse is right here, right?
There's a damn good possibility. As far as, you know,
What, 2 or 3 outhouses?
Just like the Grange and Milton.
it
Mills.
wouldn't surprise me.
They just upgraded the blinds there.
It wouldn't surprise me. But you're never going to get rid of this building,
Okay,
okay?
that's
This section
That
of the
may be a
building.
given, yeah.
Okay? Now, as far as expanding, that way, I would say that's probably an option somewhere down the road.
Yeah.
But you're right, I mean, as far as getting somebody to come in and assess this building, ooh,
But
Well, it's
Rollin.
just an overall, I mean,
with the foundation and the shape that it's in, which is...
talk to Tom Gore, he knows all about, no, I'm saying, talk to Tom Gore, he
Let me
knows all
finish.
about this
Let me finish.
foundation.
With this foundation, this building will not stand if the foundation isn't sound.
Do you know what this foundation is?
Ledge.
Ledge,
ledge and granite
Huge granite slabs,
and slabs.
Really? On ledge,
on
probably
ledge.
on ledge, yes.
yeah.
Oh, that's
All right, so don't tell me to talk to Tom Gore. Tell me what it is.
Well, it's
Well, I think
it's already been
I'd be
checked
better
out.
to get somebody non-biased.
Right.
And I'm not saying that what he tells us isn't true, but, or what Joe tells us, or what I might tell you, but it'd be good to have somebody come in and
Exactly.
say, this is,
So make a recommendation that we get somebody to properly assess the building.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
we
it's-
already know that, just for information's sake, we already know that we made an error when we put a generator behind the
Yeah.
town hall.
Yeah.
Okay? Number one, it wasn't hooked up properly. Number two, there is a short between,
Yeah.
somewhere between the generator and the library.
yeah, it's underneath.
Okay.
Underneath, yeah.
So, that caused the generator to not kick in. So, I mean, that's an error, okay? Was it something that could have been foretold? I don't know.
Do we have an ability to get money without a new warrant to be able to do a study like this, or does it have to go through the town hall process?
We would have to have a special town meeting.
A special meeting?
Yeah.
So there's no fund that would be available to do this?
I don't think
Well,
it's something like
I suppose it depends on how much it is.
Unless you
Well,
could
that's exactly-
justify taking the money
Right.
from the 50,000 allocated for the town hall repairs.
And I don't think you can do.
I don't know.
But it's
You're
something.
talking about wanting to make repairs to the town hall, okay? And if you don't have a proper assessment, okay, then,
It needs a starting point. And the thing is if you say 50,000, and in my head, every time you say that, I say 125,000.
I'm telling you right
You know,
now, I'm
because-
telling you right now, there's no way that you're gonna get everything done
No, of course we're not.
anywhere
No.
near $50,000.
No, what I'm saying is this, we got $75,000 for the parking lot. What parking lot?
Yeah.
What kind of
What is it?
parking?
Where's it going?
What is it?
We have
Where
to
is it?
talk about it as far as, we have to make a decision.
Right.
Soon about, and again, I think we should bring somebody in.
Yes.
As selectmen, I would say to get a plan and find out.
Right.
I mean, shouldn't that be our job? I'm just saying.
Well, I don't know. I really don't know.
So
Because Jennifer will call somebody.
we'll find out, but anyhow, maybe we can
Jennifer
talk.
will what?
She'll
We can
call up
find out-
people, but I think
We can find
that's,
out today.
I see.
you need to
Yeah,
do it.
we could ask at the meeting tonight and just, because it's something we have to talk about anyhow, and we know that. It's just, we just made it through, the budget season and town meeting, and now we have a list of stuff to get working on, so.
We have a list of stuff we
So
would like to
this
get
committee
working
does
on.
too, and so doesn't so don't the selectmen, so, I mean, that's something that I will, put on the agenda
No.
to start working
You think you
towards.
can to put it on for this week?
I don't know if I can do it, but this week.
Okay,
But I'm just
right.
saying, I've got it
But
written down.
Do we
so-
take votes as a committee?
Sorry?
Do we take votes? Is there a resolution that maybe would be helpful for us to take and maybe pass off to the selectmen about what we think ought to be done?
Are we allowed to do that with this committee?
What?
Are we allowed to vote in this?
Yes, we are.
I'm kidding.
Yes, we are allowed to vote in
Sorry,
this
just
committee.
asking.
Okay, I just didn't, we hadn't yet, so, but, yeah, I know.
Well, we
Well,
haven't really come up with anything that we
haven't-
want to present
We've got,
to the
which
selectmen.
I will, Wayne, how
Hi.
are you?
You're so quiet over
He's
there.
sitting over there. Wayne has
Taking
put
it all
a,
in, I'm chewing.
Wayne has put together a lot of this, and I have promised to give Tom this, we all have it. This is,
Work for me to organize.
this is the District 1 projected project list. This is the fire department.
I did get the District 2 one done up.
Okay, you've got District 2. And the fire department, Tom, you'll get a kick out of. This is apparatus replacement by year and type. Well, this actually started, I don't know why it says 1970. I believe the list was started then. But this goes through 2050. Now, I don't know if any of us are going to be around to take care of 2050.
On my lifetime.
I don't plan to be. I don't, Wayne, you might be, I don't know. But, you know, it's got everything in here. And the whole thing, and I will get this to you, so you know, as well as, you know, I mean, just in this building alone, the bathrooms need upgrading, you know. So we do need to have someone come in. So I think if we could come up with a recommendation that we bring in a specialist to inspect the building, top to bottom, and give us a written recommendation, not asking for what, do these braces do the job? I remember the first night I sat in this chair rather than one of those, and I'm going, my gosh.
This wall over here. Ken.
This wall is doing this.
Oh, you can see it, yeah. Oh,
Oh,
my
yeah.
gosh.
But these are, you know, sort of like an old swayback horse,
Yeah.
you know, it's like this. And I'm saying, oh, well, that ought to be, you know, looked at. So, but we can make that recommendation to write something in what do
Would
you think?
would you like to put forth a recommendation to the selectmen, Joyce, to have a certified building inspector review this building top to bottom to see about the feasibility of, you know, spending this money before we actually jump into doing that? In other words, you want to write it out and send it to the selectmen?
Yeah, I think we should.
You know?
What about the parking lot, the engineer?
I think it should include all of it.
Okay.
The whole
50
piece of land.
Okay, and that's
Well,
what I was
then
gonna say. can't
There you
we
go.
do
Then you
those?
know.
I like
whatever-
that.
You know how much
The
land.
whole
you
parcel.
have to put in.
The
Yeah.
whole parcel.
Yeah.
Including the land and the,
I don't know that anybody knows what the town owns as far as this land goes.
Oh, really?
From what I understand, the line for the border on this side is about 3 foot in that direction.
Right.
yeah.
Behind the building, it probably is about 5 to maybe 8 foot. There's a stone wall out back. There are a bunch of trees that Mr. Langley identified that probably should be taken care of, but we can't touch it because those trees belong to the church, okay? Just as, you know, I mean, you're talking about redoing the parking lot. What part of this parking lot out here does the town actually own? Okay? Somebody needs to define the line,
Do we have a survey of this lot?
you know?
We have maps downstairs,
I was gonna say, there's gotta be something.
So,
that's-
you know, I mean,
yeah.
you know, how much land do we own in that direction? Probably out to 109.
But there was a meeting one time between our town administrator and Ken Paul, and I forget who else was here. It might have been just before Ted Kryzak, a former selectman, left, on what they could do with the parking. And so I know some work was done then. And perhaps Jennifer remembers, you know, what was done. But I know it has been at least discussed at that level once before, but I think if we just make the request from this, that way, because we've got a lot of money here,
A lot of expenditures?
a lot of expenditures, yes.
Not a lot of money.
Not a lot of money, a
expenditures.
lot of expenditures here. That,
We don't even have the transfer station in that pile, do we yet?
we had transfer station, right?
Do we?
What did he say? You tell me.
Transfer station, he already has, he had a piece in the warrant that was voted upon
Yes.
this year, and I believe that was to replace the pad where the,
Yes,
where the dumpster goes for the trash compactor. The only other thing that I know of was the
Retaining wall.
retaining wall where the demo debris dumpster and the other dumpsters sit. He's thinking in the next year or two, that's going to have to be addressed.
Yeah.
But as far as, his building, the recycling building, and as far as the actual little building where the compactor is located, all that, I think, is in good shape. He doesn't foresee any need for any equipment. He's got 2 compactors in the recycling building. Some other smaller stuff, but he didn't identify anything that needed replacement. The retaining wall, that will be an expense.
the rec people, they really do need to have better access. And where they're going to put
I can't talk to
The,
you right now, but I will call you back. okay?
bathrooms
Oh, thank you.
is an issue because of where the well is.
Right.
So, they want something there. I think that's something that we don't have to jump on this year in our reports.
Right, but it's something that.
But it's definitely a 3-year thing.
Right.
It's a 3-year thing. So what do you think? We come up with because I do think this building, where there is now potential money set aside and work to be done, this is where we better focus. So,
To actually see about expanding on the idea of bringing somebody in. If we're gonna ask for permission to bring somebody in or have money allotted to bring somebody in, why would we not, would it make more sense for us to get organized of all the things that need to be looked at? And then we get a guy on a contract to come in and spend a couple of days and go look at all of these things and give us his assessment, and then we can take that and add to our list, because I'm sure he's gonna have stuff to add to the list.
oh yeah, I think, like, first building, building-wise, okay. I'm not worried about a retaining wall per se, but we've got to look at
No,
the,
just all the things that we're collecting data
Yeah.
on, we've got all the, if we are gonna bring somebody in, well, why don't we have them help us out by evaluating all of this, and then we are giving a full report.
Are you thinking about this site or more broadly all of
I'm
the?
thinking broadly with all of these things that we are tasked to go pull data on.
Yeah,
Does it make more sense if we're gonna have to have people say okay on paying for somebody to come in? Do we have that, really utilize that person to evaluate everything that needs to be evaluated?
I think that's a really good idea,
I
but I
don't-
almost feel like it won't fly. Like,
I think you're gonna-
Getting it asked, to get that money, okay, this is
I
the
see what you guys are
first.
saying is you've already got money that's allotted to maybe
Well,
be able to use.
To even get this person to come out, we're gonna have to pay them.
Right.
So we're gonna have, we as a committee.
and we
are
don't
gonna
know
have
how
to-
much yet.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Right.
I
gonna
have no
cost.
idea what
Right.
something like that would cost, and
Right.
I don't know if it would be,
I think as we go further down the road, we might want something like that. The only thing I could think of right now, where somebody who is a qualified engineer to look at the building and take it, is, then we're talking about the sand shed.
I was just gonna say, the roof on the garage down there, not the
Yeah,
sand
not
shed.
but the garage
yeah,
roof.
That leaks.
Yeah,
They want
and-
electrical in that, that's,
Right.
something
Right,
else too.
but it would, that, I could see that being included, so it's done at one time. And the sand shed still has its own climate system, does it?
I don't know, I don't,
Oh, my God.
I don't.
Supposedly it rains in there, Roland?
You need to talk to Will
Right,
and/or Adam.
yep.
Okay, that's not in any of their,
No, I'm just saying, you need to talk to Will and/or Adam.
Yeah, so I got all kinds of, I think a comprehensive assessment like you're talking about makes a lot of sense. But I think you all probably have a pretty good sense of what the most immediate need is. And if you're going to hire someone, you never know what you're going to get. I mean, you may be happy with them, you may not. So start out with a smaller scope, learn from them, get familiar with them, make sure you're comfortable with them before you give them the whole thing. And that may be, if they aren't immediate needs, that may be something you could do 2 years or 3 years in some phased way, bring them on.
that,
Be in a 3, 5, and 10 years.
Yeah, that's
a
very-
We need to bring in somebody to
Yeah.
assess.
Yeah,
so we can start
exactly.
If you get someone good, you can just keep, adding to it each year as you put a warrant forward to say, all right, now we want to do the transfer station or the fire station, whatever it might be.
right. Does that sound reasonable over here?
I thought you were going to do that.
That's, no,
Making
That's-
decisions that.
we're making this decision. All right,
I'd be happy to make a motion if you'd like.
I think
Make
you
a
gotta get a
motion.
list of what has to be done, the
Right,
different,
we need a list.
whatever.
yes,
Put it on a piece of paper and then sort it out. And if you talk to one guy who's an electrical guy, but he's not a structural guy, another guy's a structural guy, but, what I said before, get his, kind of feel out and get as many different opinions of what's going on to focus in on it. And then if you have a belligerent, authoritarian body that doesn't want to listen, like with the bridge that we're fixing now for 17 years, then we'll have to override them, because these are things that have to be done. This is what's wrong with the future of this town, is nobody's thinking. We're not spending money, we're investing in the future of this town. So when you think all the good things that people have done in the past and say, gee, wasn't it great that they did that years ago? They did this. Farmers or whatever they are. But I think by having an overall picture and then saying, this is what we want, this is what the town needs. You're not dealing with personalities and egos, you're dealing with the reality of the reality. And this town hall is a good example of the goods and the bads of the past.
okay, facts, just facts. Warren, Roland, you
Yes, ma'am.
want to make a motion?
Oh. I'm trying to think of how I would like to word it.
All right, I'm going to go off the reservation here, because I believe chairmen don't make motions necessarily. And I would like you to join in. I do believe we should say the Capital Improvement Committee would like to recommend X amount of dollars, would not recommend.
I don't even think I'd put a dollar amount.
Okay.
Okay, I think I would say, something along the lines
Now
of,
let's talk.
the Capital Improvement Committee would like to make a recommendation that the town get a professional certified assessment
From an engineer or
for the town hall facilities. okay? That should cover foundation, walls, electrical,
And
the whole 9 yards.
roof, the whole nine.
Okay? The only thing that, you know, I'm going to state is we are an advisory committee, and we can make a recommendation, and if nobody decides to follow that recommendation, so be it. That's my motion.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Any discussion?
Or any further discussion?
All in favor? Now read it back to me.
Oh, my God.
Who's next on here?
The
I have to leave you.
Capital Improvement Committee recommends
Yeah,
that the town
yeah. Get a professional certified.
obtain,
Engage or obtained, yeah.
I'm not going to say engage, I'm not going to say hire, I would say obtain a professional certified appraisal of the town hall.
Not the word appraisal.
Assessment, right?
Assessment, excuse me, assessment.
Yeah.
Better, thank you.
That-
I know we've made our motion, and since we are advisory and we are casual, a few changes of words are not going to change what we said at this point.
Is that, just to clarify, is that recommendation that the selectmen sort of engage in that, or undertake a process, or is it, who's the town, who's the town?
We advise the selectmen.
Selectmen, so it's a recommendation to the selectmen.
Correct.
That they would undertake a,
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Got it, Joyce?
Yep.
I have a,
You have to go get,
You've got to
have to
go.
go. Is there anything?
Have you signed your bills?
I did.
Good for you.
I got that done earlier.
Okay.
But there's a couple other things. Bring it up, demo, that kind of stuff. All right.
All right.
It was good seeing everybody.
Nice meeting.
We'll see you.
too.
just a heads up,
Yeah.
Adam, before you depart, because I am going to bring it up in, I don't know, an hour and a half or so.
Wait.
I'd just like to give you advance warning.
Camera.
According to the town purchasing policy,
Yes.
there are 2 paragraphs in that purchasing policy. One deals with anything in excess of $1,000, you're required to get 3 estimates. The other paragraph deals, it's 1,000.
That was 5,000.
No, it's
No, it's
1,000. If you are doing something which is in excess of $5,000, you are required to put it out for bid, and 3 bids.
Okay, Ted, you're gonna talk about 3 bids of 5.
I'm sorry, it's 3
1,000 is 3 what?
estimates.
Estimates.
Not bids,
Okay,
estimates.
all right,
Right.
estimate and
Okay.
bid,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right. I have this, we'll do this, we'll write it, we'll make sure. Now, some nitty-gritty stuff, because we know we can talk about this forever. We have to put this in a cohesive way. Wayne, you have the other one, maybe you could.
District 2?
District 2?
Yes.
Tom, would you like to move in so?
Sure, whatever works.
I'm gonna say, I'll throw it at her.
So with that one, the format is a little different on how you had to type it.
So,
Dollar amounts or estimates, so
yeah, he has no,
it's a little more blank than that one.
I never get back to you on that.
he has no, this is our District 2
Went right down to
road
the last day.
person, and
I'm
that's
chasing it down. I had to.
what he's talking about doing
I actually did it that afternoon.
through the years, and here's
Oh,
District
yeah.
1's.
She filled me in.
This is how we're getting the raw material.
Okay, I had your number here. No.
So these are roads, road projects that they're
Yeah.
recommending.
Right, exactly. And, oh, the light, one light just came
I
on.
told you, it comes on when it feels like it.
Kind of like mine.
Central Maine flicker and flash.
And this is from the fire department.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
okay.
The fire department is extremely well organized as far as what their inventory consists of
Seem to be, yeah.
and all of their equipment. I mean, I'm talking extremely well organized. Mr. Smith, you know, I mean, it's all computerized. He knows, you know, how many nozzles he's got. He knows how many hoses he's got, the different sizes, you know,
great.
the whole 9 yards.
That's great.
It's far better than most every other department, I would say.
Yeah.
I don't think there's another department in town that is anywhere near as efficient in knowing what he
The
has.
school department is.
Well,
The nature of
I'm
it.
sorry, Joe. I forget about the school just because of the fact that they consider themselves not to be part of the town.
Well, yeah.
I understand
that's
they
what they're
are.
organized.
Yeah, I understand they are. The school is actually a department of the
I
town.
know, but
But unfortunately, somewhere down the road,
they have their own,
Past.
they have their own town meeting, they have their own everything.
I know.
I'm on my fifth cup of
and I don't agree with
coffee.
it.
And, you know, it's quite an expense too,
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt.
but we don't,
What else you want to cover,
Well,
Madam Chair?
When we have this, we can't just put it in a form like this. We have to put it, and this is July, and we need to be, when will we start on warrant and finance?
Oh, Lord.
it should start in November, shouldn't it?
October, November, somewhere in that
We need to
neighborhood.
be ready for that.
Yeah. Somewhere around October, November. I would say probably November.
Because we need to be ready for that, because we need to, well, we need to report to the selectmen. We should also include warrant and finance in what we have. They should have some information
Absolutely.
from us.
No
And,
problem. I'm not going to tell them.
no, well, you can tell them, and the thing of it is four of us are here now.
I know that.
Okay?
You know, when I look at this, and I haven't studied it obviously, but the question I have is, how much typically does the town set aside for capital each year? Is so that we can,
It's
do
not-
we play a role in prioritizing that, or is that the
Well-
finance committee? Or is it, we just provide our assessment of when we think it needs to be done?
To be honest with you, the town has not really, in the past, set much aside capital improvement
I see.
wise. Which is why, every 5 to 10 years, we gotta, oh my God, we gotta have a new fire truck.
Yeah,
But this is part of the reason that we're in this committees here, is that
Right.
over the past 10 years, we've had projects that had been stalled and whatever, and over a period of time, it's been detrimental to the betterment of the town.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, bingo, you gotta just, we gotta do it. Like a year and a half ago, this was.
We have two major bridge projects coming up
Yeah.
yeah.
that we should be
I'm aware of
prepared.
one of them anyways.
And the road bridge
Yeah.
at the end of the Hopper Road.
Yes, I know, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are capital improvements. We should be aware of those.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of them I hope will be in the next year. And
Which one's that, Joyce?
the one I risked my life on.
Oh, you mean the culvert?
The state is calling that a bridge now.
You know, I'm still upset that the selectmen didn't go forward with the recommendation by the road committee.
Well, they only left 125,000 on the table.
Well, they left 125,000 sitting there, which could have benefited the town
Yes.
greatly because they didn't want to pursue it.
But they didn't have the time to do it, too. That's the problem. Yeah, well-
You could apply for that grant that they were talking about applying for. They had all the paperwork done. And the selectmen said no.
A selectman said no.
Well, more than
Okay,
one.
but the point of all of this is, we have 2 bridges that are in
Right, disrepair,
dire need of repair.
exactly.
Which-
One of them
which
could
bridge?
cut off, I forget the number of people we are on the particular road, but in the summer, I believe the count is...
Over 100.
It's over 100. It might be 121. They could be totally cut off, all right? No fire, no ambulance, nothing like that. The other one is in such dire strait that Milton could decide they're going to shut the road. They're going to shut the bridge. Milton Mills shuts that bridge off because it's the New Hampshire side. How many people use that to get to Route 16
Well,
or
right
even
now, a lot more
125?
people because
I mean-
canal's closed.
You know, why would
A lot
you
of people
drive
turning around.
21 miles to get to 95 when you can just go down the road and pick it up there? So that's something that we have to keep our sights on.
No question.
But I do want to get all this stuff done by October, November. So I think we may have to meet more than once a month, you know, probably starting towards August. We'll ask the road committee to come in, and we'll ask Will and Adam to come in and get more information like that. So we can put to paper. Like I say, I'm not going to say, well, here are our recommendations, but we have to now translate that into a, you know,
Do you want me to mess with, I didn't think that we wanted to mess with just specifically with the fire department. I mean, that's pretty well
Yeah, that's pretty good.
laid out. I
Right.
don't think there was anything I needed to touch. Or do you?
I think the only thing that I would look at is where it is by dates, and I would probably,
I mean, like summarize some of it and condense it
yeah,
type of thing?
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And I probably wouldn't go any further out than, what's this, 2021, 2031,
10 years.
which seems a long way away, but it's only 10 years. You know,
Okay.
that way. Because this does
Make
go to 2050. Yes,
a motion that we set a date and time for our next meeting. Today's date is,
14th.
I'm sorry,
14th.
14th. At least 3 weeks from today.
The fourth.
1, 2, 3 would be the 4th.
that would be the 4th.
Anybody have a problem with the 4th of August? If we're talking 4th of August,
We are talking about the 4th of August.
I don't have a problem with it.
What time?
4:30.
4:30?
That would be my recommendation.
Yeah.
It's not my choice, it's my recommendation.
Yeah. You know,
So we're August 4th?
August 4th at 4:30. I know, Wayne, you have, what is your work schedule?
I worked till 3:30. Today was just funky because my significant other started working at Pratt also, so we
Oh.
carpooled.
Nice.
So I couldn't beat feet like I normally do.
Yeah, okay,
So I got caught in all the Pratt traffic, which I
yeah.
could avoid. So today was just an off
Well,
day.
no, I mean, no,
It's a good thing that she is working,
I mean, you know,
or he.
I live,
Gee,
Oh, I don't,
I'm not that modern.
okay.
I live 5 miles from here, and I can be late too, so we don't worry about that.
Anything else?
But I would sometimes like to be able to change this from a Wednesday afternoon to something different.
I don't have a problem, pick a day.
Doesn't matter to me. I don't.
And I don't either, you know.
The only reason that I like the idea of the Wednesday is because we finish here, and an hour or so afterward, I'm sitting here already for the next
For the next,
You're all set.
ballyhoo.
yes, exactly. All right, I'd like a motion to adjourn the meeting, please.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
One second.
All in favor?
Aye.